To start out, Dr. Eric Fiegl-Ding is with us, the epidemiologist and health economist. He's an adjunct senior fellow with the American Federation of Scientists, formerly a faculty member and researcher at the Harvard Medical School and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. You can follow him on Twitter, which is where I just hang on his every pronouncement, at Dr. Eric Ding, E-R-I-C-D-I-N-G, D-R-E-R-I-C-D-I-N-G, over on Twitter. One of the must-follow Twitter threads, or whatever you call it, posters out there. Dr. Fiegl-Ding, welcome back to the program. It's great to have you with us. Can you describe for us the difference between something being pandemic and something being endemic? Because it seems to me that coronavirus is on the verge of becoming endemic, unless I'm misunderstanding that word.
Right. Thank you for having me. I think epidemic and pandemic are obviously talks about the rising of a new virus, a pandemic being a global version of a new virus. But the issue with endemic means it's been with us for so long that it just lives with us. We just can't
sort of like the
absolutely
flu.
Can't eradicate it, but usually it means it has like a low level of seriousness and severity. Like we have endemic chickenpox. Kids eventually get chickenpox. Endemic common cold and usually these kind of things. I would not describe the SARS-CoV-2 as endemic yet. It's very much a brand new virus, and it is extremely deadly that we should not just live with it at the current time.
Well, I guess my larger question then is, we're all envisioning, or we were prior to the Delta variant, a time when enough of us were vaccinated that we could just, pull the plug on this thing and declare it like we did with polio and smallpox. It's gone. And it certainly doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Even though it now has been, at least for those people who are vaccinated, reduced from something that's going to kill you or put you in the hospital down to something that gives you a bad head cold. But how do you see this shaping out with where we are at now in the United States?
Yeah, I think before the Delta variant, there was a really good chance we could eradicate it. But with the rise of the Delta variant, it's going to create a different type of problem, because the Delta variant, there's data that not only does it circulate in minks, but 50% of all wild deer in Michigan are now infected.
Wow.
And and if it's just deer that's infected, many other animals like rodents and other animals or raccoons potentially are someday as well. But the issue is because it's so much more contagious, and now it's hard to stop. And if it has an animal reservoir to live in,
particularly dogs or cats,
eradicating in humans means animals that could potentially come back and infect us, even if we eradicate it for animals. And the head of eradication for smallpox, Dr. Larry Brilliant, says it's when you have a heavy animal reservoir infection, you can't eradicate it anymore. So the problem is, are we reaching that state that because it's so contagious that we can't eradicate? It's not. I would not call it endemic yet, because endemic by definition means low severity and living with us for a long time. I don't know if this is going to be a low severity thing. Hopefully, we will eventually get to a point where it's low severity. But in India, don't forget, India, the Delta variant, also formerly known as the Indian double mutant variant, it killed about 1 to 3 million people in 2 months. So this is something that we cannot just live with. This is something that, as on the human scale and toll, we should not ever live with. But at this rate currently, it could, with with so many vaccine hesitant people, it could burn through the forest.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't live with if you're in a forest, you shouldn't live with forest fires. You still have to put them out. But the problem is, if you don't stop it with anything else, it's going to burn through the forest until there's nothing left. And that is the calamity that we're seeing in some countries that's now faced with the Delta variant on an astronomical scale.
If this virus has mutated in a way that allows it to easily jump into other mammals, you mentioned, half the deer in Michigan now have it, and there's a lot of deer in Michigan. I grew up in Michigan. How far away are we from it jumping to dogs and cats? And then if it jumps into feral dog and cat populations, this becomes a reservoir that echoes back against humans constantly.
Yeah, and the bad news is it has already jumped into dogs and cats. That's already been proven. And the issue can it jump back? We technically don't have any proof that it can jump back to us. But lack of proof is not proof that it doesn't do it. It happens.
Right.
We know it jumps into minks, and we have proof it jumps back from minks to humans on mink farms. This is where you hear all the millions of minks infected, and we've actually proven that it jumps into minks, mutates in minks, and jumps back into humans with the mutated form. That's already been proven. And the other thing is previously, the old Wuhan version 1.0 could not infect mice. It could not, because unless the mice had a certain receptor, it just could not infect mice. Guess what? And according to the studies a couple months ago, it doesn't, alpha variant, which is the UK variant that was developed over the wintertime, it doesn't even need the special gene that the old Wuhan version needed. Now it can directly infect mice. If it infects mice and rats, that this is going to come back to us.
So it doesn't require the...
We've seen it. So basically the writing's on the wall that it could jump back to us. And the question is, eventually will it become by itself mutated so mild that we can live with it? Or is it going to be that we're going to need a burn through before the world hits that level? And going through a burn through in which the forest gets burned to all fires before the wildfire ends is not the outcome that we want in this society. But at the stage where we're headed, in Florida and many other places where there's no masks, very low vaccinations, that's where we're headed. And that is the really scary future.
Burn through meaning lots and lots of people dying, getting sick and dying. Which raises the question, there's this new variant, the Lambda variant. I was reading about this in Nature yesterday, that they believe that it is more deadly and perhaps more contagious than even the Delta variant. What do we know about that? Oh, hang on just a minute. I'm sorry, we just hit a break. I thought we still had a couple of minutes. Can you hang on? Can you stick around with us, Dr. Fiegl-Ding? Okay, great. We're talking with Dr. Eric Fiegl-Ding, the epidemiologist and health economist with the American Federation of Scientists, formerly a faculty member and researcher at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Eric Ding on Twitter. We will be right back with Dr. Fiegl-Ding. Stick around.
I mean, do we even need to do a commercial for the Steph store? I mean, the shirts are flying off the right. Look at this. Look at it. Get your face
Look at that.
Get your face up there. Look. We have them for Team Pfizer, Team J&J. We are all Team Vaccine here. We have amazing.
That's right.
And you can get it on everything. Right, Chris? Not just shirts.
Bath mats, shower curtains. You can get it on art, a clock. You can get
Duvet.
a selfie bomb on a clock.
We have Stephanie Miller swag. We have Sexy Liberal swag. And, of course, all the vaccine shirts. Get it now. StephanieMiller.com. Whee!